Hey guys, it's Amy at Zoe Beck, and I'm going to do my October 2020 book haul. So I bought 20 books. Yeah, you would think that after I made a big purchase like my new car that I would, know that I need to cut back on my book buying because I have now a car payment that I haven't had in like 15 years. But no, October was just off the rails. I was definitely click happy, which I'll explain as we go. But I got some really great books. Don't get me wrong. I'm excited about like all these, but the problem is that I shouldn't have bought all of them. Anyway, so just be aware November will be much smaller. I'm working on that really hard right now of curbing myself. It is hard. It's been a long time since I've really had to curb myself, and I now need to do that. So anyway, let's go through the books that I did buy, because I did buy a lot of books. So the first big stack is ones I bought were inspired by Victober. So Victober, of course, I took place during October, and I have done that every year. And every year my collection gets bigger and bigger. I knock off a lot during October, but I just seem to accumulate more, so it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. So the first one I got was The Half Sisters by Geraldine Ensor Julesby. So Gooseberry, sorry. I saw this on Katie at Books and Things, her talking about this a lot, especially this year. I think she read it the year before as well. So it was on my list all year. I've been looking for a copy of this. I did not want to get this one because I know that the font is not the greatest. Like, it's just, I don't know, I don't like it as well, and it's kind of a weird shape and everything, but it was the only one I could find for a price I wanted to pay. I tried to look for some of them on eBay and, online and stuff, and I just couldn't find one I wanted to pay for, so I bought this. So it's about, and again, I'm not going to explain a lot about a lot of these books, but again, this has to do with two sisters, two half-sisters, and their different choices for their lives, considering what one does who is legitimate and one who is not. And just interesting. It's very interesting, and I really do want to get to that, so. I also picked up Jill by Amy Dillwyn. This is a Welsh woman's classic, Victorian classic. So I don't know a whole lot about this except that I know several people have read it on BookTube, so I've been wanting to read it. And I know it has to do with a woman who goes to be a maid for a woman, and things happen. And I guess she's kind of a renegade. I'm not sure. She says she's an unconventional heroine, so I don't know. Sounds good. I also picked up Miss Marjorie Banks, I think that's how you say it, by Margaret Oliphant. I did not read this when they did it as the book, the group read, I think a couple of years ago. I don't remember why. I think I couldn't get a copy at the time, and I had other things on my TBR that were pretty big, so I didn't get it. And I did read one of her books before, so but I always wanted to come back to this and try this one because some people really liked it. So I've read The Rector by this author, and that's about it. And I know she's wrote dozens of books. So I do want to read this. And I think it's just, again, it's just social about a woman who is taking care of her dad, and then it's her relationships with the community that they're in. But I don't know. I actually don't know a whole lot about it anymore. It's been a couple of years since everybody read it, but I didn't get to read it. And I also bought Two on the Tower by Thomas Hardy. So I've collected like 6 Thomas Hardys, and I've not read any of them yet. But this one I picked up because there was the Stitch and Listen, or I don't remember what the group was called, that there was doing crafty stuff while they listened to the audiobook of this. And so all I know is about is a woman and a younger man and their relationship. I'm not quite sure. But the point is that I haven't read a Hardy yet. So this was going to be my first one because I thought, oh, it's pretty short and I could probably get through it. And I just didn't get it in time to get it onto my TBR. But I do like these editions of some classics, so I have this one, but I need to finish a Hardy. So I don't know if this will be my first one, or if I really think I want to read Far from the Madding Crowd, but I just still haven't got to that yet, so. Hardy's kind of up in the air for me yet. I don't know, but I have, like, as I said, like 6 or so of his books. I need to try him. I also picked up Gilbert's Diary by Frances Gilbert. So this was for the prompt of trying to read someone's diary or letters. And it's pretty long, but it's like really short little vignettes of this. I think he was A clergyman, yeah. So, and he walked the lanes and fields of Herefordshire and was writing his diary. And so it's just, it sounds interesting. I mean, it just sounds kind of sweet and stuff. And so I'm not sure. I know Kate Howe had this on her TBR, and I think she read it, but I haven't heard yet how she liked it. But I'd already bought it. Like, I bought it, I think, when I saw her her TBR or something, because I thought, oh, that's good, I could use that for the prompt, but I didn't get to it, so bummer. But I hope to at some point. And then I picked up another Wilkie Collins. I collect these as the year goes around because I just want to get all his books. Not that I've read all of them, so I need to keep reading them. But this one is Poor Miss Finch, and I think this one was much more of a, not quite one of his like mystery ones. I think this is more of a social one, about a young girl who's young, beautiful, and blind, and there's something about twins in it. I'm not quite sure what's going on, so I don't know. I think I saw this on Katie at Books and Things, but anyway. But again, it's a Wilkie Collins, so I'm just collecting them all here and there. I soon will probably have I have a pretty good collection of him already that I need to read. And then oh, what did I get on my book here? Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I picked up a copy of David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. This is one of the ones I did not own, and it's one I want to get to. It's gigantic. I don't think this will be my next Dickens. At least I don't think so this time, but I'm hoping to pick up more of these as we go. Dickens was one of those ones where I read really young and then I didn't have to read him in college, which I'm still kind of stunned about. I didn't read him much. I read a lot of other people, but for some reason Dickens I didn't get back to, and so it's only recently that I've discovered that I still like his writing, and after reading Bleak House. So I'm really excited to read some of his other ones, and this again is one of his major works. So I definitely want to get to it at some point. And then this is the only book on the stack that I read that came in that month, is Night Walks by Charles Dickens, and this is by the Penguin Great Books little thing. So it's like 8 essays that he writes about London. The first one, Night Walks, talks about him walking in the middle of the night when he had insomnia and what he sees about people who are houseless. And it is actually, I would say, over half of these I really, really enjoyed. So I did think this was a great little addition. It was kind of neat. I also picked up this one, The Lazy Tour of the Two Idle Apprentices by Charles Dickens and Wilkie Collins. It had both their names on it. I had to pick it up. And so I don't know a lot about this, except they wrote this anonymously, or under pseudonyms. And it has to do with two men doing a walking tour of the northwest England. And it was just for one of, for Charles Dickens' magazine, Household Words. So they talk about a pair of chilling ghost stories. So interesting. I don't know. I just like these little books that has something different in it. And the last Victorian classic I got is The Canterville Ghost by Oscar Wilde. I read this when I was really young. I think that you remember like the movie like with Jodie Foster in it. I'm pretty sure it was based off of this. Anyway, point is that I found someone had this copy and I don't remember who it was, but whoever it was, I went looking for this as soon as possible to get one. I've been looking for a copy to get, and so that I can reread it. I haven't read it in decades, so I do want to reread this. And again, it has to do with the ghost, and I think an American family moves into a home or something. So anyway, it sounds interesting because the poor ghost. Anyway, but I want to read that, and I'm glad I got a copy of it now. And then I have two classics that are not Victorian. I had The Last Man from Mary Shelley. This was published in 1826, so this is one of her books that is not as well known, but I think it's kind of a talking about like the destruction of the world, like he's the last man. So I don't know a lot about it, but I'm interested in more I can't talk today, Mary Shelley. And then I also got The Betrothed by Alessandro Manzoni. So this is from what this is an Italian classic. It's supposed to be written it was written in 1827. I think it started being published, and yeah, published in 1827. And the story takes place in 1620, and it has to do with two lovers who are separated, and they go through very hard times because a mean old tyrant wants to marry her instead. And so they are off and around. I think it's in Spain that they're in this, yeah, or no, Lombardy. I don't know where that is. Anyway, maybe that's. Oh, maybe it's during the Spanish occupation, so maybe it is in Italy, but. Anyway, I don't know enough about that history in 1620. I'm gonna have to look that stuff up. But it looks really like a romp, like as in they have to deal with many dangers like plague, famine, imprisonment, and then a lot of characters who are very sinister. So it kind of gives me feelings of Gothic, as in for like Anne Radcliffe and stuff. So I'm not quite sure where I heard about this. If anybody has read it, let me know, and what they thought. I don't know. I've had it on my wish list for about a couple months, and I finally got a copy of it at a price I wanted to pay because it was expensive for a lot of the time, or not available. So anyway, I want to try that. The one nonfiction that I picked up that was not a classic was The Social Life of Books by Abigail Williams. I don't know where I saw this, but this sounds fascinating. I'm sure somebody talked about this on one of their channels, because I looked it up right away and found a copy online I think on Marketplace for new, but it was like a cheap price. So anyway, it has to do with looking at our relationship with books and reading together in the 18th century home. So I knew it had to do with a certain time period. Like I couldn't remember that, but I'm glad I opened up the book and remembered. So it has to do during the the 1700s. So I just thought it sounded really interesting. Again, it might be a little bit more academic than some of the like scholarly than I want to get into, but I just thought I could look at it and decide. So it said this was put out by Yale University Press, so it could be over my head, but there's like little pictures of things just inserted, and it talks about verse at home, using books, how to read, reading and sociability. It just sounds fascinating. Just again, the social life of books. Perfect for us, right? Anyway, so I tried that. And then let's do historical fiction. So I bought this book on Books Depository. I think I even pre-ordered it because I thought I was going to get a different copy, and then the copy came and I was so upset about the copy. And again, I'm not a huge deal with, like, if it's a really cool cover, like, I mean, this was just a little cool and awesome. But I could have bought it other times and not worried about this. But this one, I was just like, this is the most ugliest cover. And if I do the list of, what the end of the year, what the ugliest cover I got this year is, this is going to win. And that is The Lost Ones by Anita Frank. So usually that has this beautiful blue, illustrated cover. That is the ugliest cover ever. This is like back to the 70s. This is wrong. Anyway, so this is a historical fiction. It's talking about England, 1917. And a woman goes to, is grieving for her fiance's death. So she goes and stays with her sister, and something's going on in the house that's very, very spooky. She's hearing things and things are going on. So she's trying to figure out what it is. I heard about this from Tom Reed's Things. I think is one who talked about it first. And then somebody else I saw read it too, and I pre-ordered it thinking it would be a better cover than this, but whatever. Anyway, so because again, it was coming out there in paper in England and in paperback, and it wasn't going to be here for a while, so I just got it. Now I'm regretting my decision, but anyway, I do want to read that. So it's historical fiction with a spooky element, so it's kind of Gothic, and it's, I don't know, 1917 seems like a cool time period that I haven't read a whole lot of. I mean, that seems like that's cool. And then the other one I got was Katherine of Aragon, The True Queen by Alison Weir. So again, I'm collecting a lot of historical fiction books about historical characters, like novelizations of their lives kind of things. So this is the first book in the 6 Tudor Queens series. I've been eyeing this series for a while. So I got this copy, a used library copy. There's only like a little damage down here, this whatever they got on it, but it's floppy and it's really in good condition other than whatever they got on the bottom there. Yeah, whatever. So anyway, I I know people have liked the series and gone farther into it. This is just the first book in that series about the first queen of Henry VIII. I did pick up one translated work, or well, yeah, I think this is the only translated work I picked up. Or no, second one. Did I mention that this was translated from Italian? Sorry. It's done by Bruce Penman. Sorry. I knew I had two. This is my second one. This is my Japanese one. Are we surprised? No. So this is the new translated work put out by Hiroko Oyamada. This is The Hole. So I read The Factory earlier this year. Did I read that during August? I think I read it during August for Women in Translation. And again, I'm always on the lookout for more Japanese authors. Anyway, so, and I found that one really weird. I don't think I would say I liked it. I enjoyed the experience of reading something new from, it was weird. It was a weird book. Okay, let me just say that. But I saw this one in it and I was like, I need to get that. And I didn't want to wait for my library to buy it, which was stupid. I don't know. Anyway, so, and it's like really, I didn't realize how small it was going to be. But it has to do with a woman who has to move to the country with her husband when he gets transferred. So she's trying to adjust to being out there, and she goes for a walk and she sees a strange creature. Follows it to the embankment of the river and ends up falling into a hole. So it's kind of like loosely Alice in Wonderland. It says on the back it's like reminiscent of Lewis Carroll and David Lynch. Buzzwords for me. Anyway, so I'm kind of... Anyway, it looks like it's going to be good. Sorry. It looks like it's going to be good. It's really short, though. I also picked up The Reckoning of Gossamer Pond by Jamie Jo Wright. So I just recently discovered Chantel at An Intentional Life. And she was raving about this book, and then I just saw her video about another one that she raved even more than this one. But this is the one I bought first. I decided to check these out because these are, again, the dual timeline fiction that I really enjoy by a lot of authors. And this one had to do with a woman who goes back to her, Gossamer Grove, which is the town. I think she grew up there and has painful memories, but she comes back and she's inherited a rundown trailer home that has full of pictures and stuff. So she's kind of trying to figure out what that's all, why she inherited it and how she connected to this. And then the other storyline is 100 years before that with a woman who works for her dad's, or her dad is the newspaper man. So I think she kind of gets involved with some mystery that's going on with some death or something. Anyway, it sounds really good. I think the covers are gorgeous on these books. Definitely spooky and gothic. I kind of am excited for this one. But it is a Christian publisher, so I'm not sure how much that'll influence or reflect how I feel about this book. We'll see. As I said, I'm very open to a lot of different literature. I'm not sure how that'll go. So we'll see. I'm kind of excited to find a new author that does these my favorite, the dual timeline historical fictions, and modern day, and all that mix. I just love those. Those are my favorite. I need to read more of them. I own a lot of them. So that's another one. And then a book that I don't remember really why I pre-ordered it, and I don't know of anybody who's read it, or I now have seen one other person who has it, but I don't know anything about this, and that is Northern Raff by Theo Holt. Anyway, so this is a fantasy series. It's the first book, or part one of the Hanged God trilogy. It's Viking inspired. It has to do with gods and men. I'm excited. And again, it's Viking. I don't know. So I don't know anything about it. It's a fantasy. It's a pretty good chunker. It's the first in the trilogy. I don't know why I pre-ordered it. Did anybody else get it and that's why I bought it? I don't know. Anyway, I was a little of a surprise when I got the notification it was mailed, and I'm like, what did I buy? And I went back and looked, and I'm like, I don't remember buying that. So I don't know. This will be an interesting... I usually do not do that to myself especially with fantasies. Usually I know a lot more about them, and I've heard other people talk about it. That one, I don't have a clue. I'm taking a chance on it. And then I also did buy, because it was on sale, was the first part of The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. This is the first book in the Stormlight Archive. So I have the mass market of The Way of Kings and what's the second one? Words of Radiance. So I do have mass market. I have not read them. I've not read this series. I've not gotten into yet. I've only read the first era of Mistborn and loved them. They were fantastic. So I do want to read more Sanderson. I just haven't got to it. And I thought, I know a lot of people have these really cool books. I have the Arcanum Unbound in this edition. And so I thought, well, you know, I'm going to try to get to The Way of Kings, but maybe if I read half of it this way and then either finish it with my mass market, or if I decide I want to keep it at this size, then I might buy the other ones and just take the hit on how much money just to be easier to read them. I'm not quite sure. I'm on the fence about this one. So I have not read, as I said, not this series. Again, book 4, Rhythm of War, is coming out this year. So I'm hoping to start this series, and I think now it's safe enough to, I don't know, it just still seems too early for a 10-book series, and we're only at book 4, but we'll see. I really do want to try this series before I collect any more of them. So I thought if I got the first half of this, then I can make a decision if this is the series for me, and then I can either continue to buy them, either get these ones or read the mass markets I have or anything. But I'm gonna try those. But again, I want to try to read more of my epic fantasies that I have. I have a lot. I have a lot of everything that I want to read. Clearly, I buy a lot of books. And then the last thing I want to show is Little Witches, Magic in Concord by Lee Drugan. So this is a friend of mine that I knew in Sacramento as well who has published this book. It is a graphic novel about, it's based off of Little Women, but with witches. They're witches. So I don't know anything about this, as in I have not read Little Women yet. It's one of those books that I can't get myself to read. But I wanted to support her and I bought her book. And so if you guys like Little Women, like graphic novels, and like a little magic in them, then maybe you should try this, and please support her. Anyway, so I'm really proud of her, and I'm excited to, I probably will read this by itself, even though, I mean, again, I know the story of Little Women without having read it because of movies and other things, but not that I watched the recent one, but you know what I mean, like old ones. But we'll see. I don't know. But I still have it. You'll see it on my shelf. Anyway, so that's all the books I bought. Oh my gosh, I talked about a lot of them. As I said, I bought 20. That is not happening again for a while. Hopefully not till after Christmas when I have gift cards again, or my birthday in May. I'm hoping to slow this down a little bit. I really don't need to buy that many. I have a lot of books to read. Clearly. I think that's it. That's all of it. If you guys have read any of these books or think I should move them up on my TBR for some reason, let me know. Again, sometimes these will go on my shelf and then I'll forget how excited I am about them until something else reminds me of them. So anything you can say could help with that. So anyway, did you guys buy anything good in October that I need to know about? Not that I need to buy them anymore, but you know what I mean. Anyway, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.